everyone, and welcome to episode 107 of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest, and you can find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes on the corresponding numbered thread in the Ravelry group. So welcome to all new viewers, and welcome back to all returning viewers. I appreciate you coming back to see me whenever I make an episode. So I think it's been maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3. I'm not sure. But I did go to Vogue Knitting Live, and it was also my birthday and my anniversary. So lots of things happened in January. I also drew for the prize winners, which I don't know if I remember to bring that little paper or not. So I will go ahead and jump into stuff, and if I come across it, great. If I don't, I will go get it near the end. And I will put a timestamp in the down bar to let you know where the winners will be. So I have this week for you a ton of acquisitions and gifts. And I've got not very many whips to share. I've honestly been kind of between projects, and I'm not sure what to cast on next, so I feel like I'm sort of flailing around and just doing little bits of things here and there. And I am also doing a test knit, which I will show soon. Yeah, and I just realized one of my gifts is over in the thing. Shut. All right. As per usual, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. So I do have an FO for this week, and I'm going to actually change after I show it to you because it's really cold in my house, so short sleeves are not practical. However, this sweater was amazing for Vogue Knitting Live because it was so hot in the Hyatt Regency that having short sleeves was really good, because this is an alpaca yarn, alpaca merino and nylon, but if I had had full sleeves, I would have been roasting in there. A lot of people were, actually. Especially like the booth people that were vending. They were like, oh my gosh, I gotta wear my stuff, but it's so hot. So I was glad that I did a short sleeve sweater. And I'm wearing it with yoga pants, so super fancy, but I will stand up so you can see it. So this is the Professor Meow sweater. It is a pattern that is from the Knit Picks patterns. So you can purchase it from there, and then they have kits for the Wonder Fluff yarn, which is what I used. So I used Sweet Pea Heather and Cobblestone Heather. I think this was maybe 2.5 skeins of Sweet Pea Heather, and then about a skein of the Cobblestone Heather. It's really hard to tell because with intarsia, you're kind of making smaller balls of yarn so that you can work the bits. So this is my first intarsia sweater ever, and I found it very simple to do. So I did not do, I think it's like 0 ease maybe, or a little bit of positive ease. It might have been a little bit of positive ease. So I think I knit the 41-inch bust, and I have, it's complicated, 38-inch upper bust, and then 44 for the actual bust. So I was not expecting that it would make the cat's head be bulbous. On the picture, it's straight up and down, but I think it actually makes it look more like a cat, so we're going to go with it. I spent forever doing the whiskers. I did them in the hotel room right before I went to Vogue Knitting Live. I was a little bit hungover because I went out with a friend the night before, but I did my best on making them be symmetrical. He had whiskers for the show. That's what I'm going to say. It's really comfortable. Wonder Fluff is very light, so if you're going to knit with it, I can highly suggest it. It is very, very wonderful yarn, and it's, like I said, super light and fluffy, and it feels like you are knitting a sweater with kitten fur. Yeah. And what else do I have to say about the pattern? The pattern is really straightforward. The seaming was very simple. I looked up a tutorial, and I now don't remember the name of it, but it's a woman who has really good has a really good tutorial channel. So I looked hers up for the side seaming because it had been a while since I'd seamed mattress stitch. And then on the top, this is like seaming two pieces together that, you know, they're bound off. So were I to do it again, I might have 3 needle bind off the top, but I mean, it was fine the method that I did it too. So I will link to both of those videos as well. They were very straightforward and easy to follow, and for me it was more a reminder of the technique, but I think if you had never done them before, they would be perfectly fine for you to follow along. So, Professor Meow, Knit Picks Wonder Fluff. This is sweater number 1 of 2019. So I was not intending to have a Vogue Knitting Live sweater or a birthday sweater, but I ended up with one. It was very, very fast. I think I started it on the 7th and I finished it the morning of Vogue Knitting Live. And I work full time and I had a pretty brutal couple of weeks in January where I worked a lot of hours. So yeah, it was really, really easy. I used 10.5 needles. I think that's everything I have to say about it. So, yeah, I'm going to pause and remove said sweater, and then we will chat again. Okay, now I'm back. So I have a very fun fleece jacket because, yeah, it's cold in my house. We did not get the full-blown polar vortex that other people in the U.S. got. Ohio actually got hit far worse than Connecticut. Yeah, so far I've been a little disappointed with the Connecticut winter. It is not everything that people sold it as, and I know that, you know, global warming, nobody can predict how the weather's going to be now because it's very erratic and all over the place and not predictable. We've only had 2 snows. One was maybe 3 inches. It stuck around for a couple days. And then the other one was more ice than snow, and it melted the next day. So we have a teeny dusting of snow out on the ground right now. But otherwise, yeah, we haven't had to scrape. We haven't had to salt. What? Yeah. People said, oh, Connecticut, it snows so much. You're just going to be in for it. Nothing so far. So far, Ohio has got far more snow than we have here. So, that's my only FO. And then as far as whips, like I said, I've been sort of just jumping around between projects. So I will show you the test knit because that is the thing I've been working the most on. And I had started it before I went to Vogue Knitting Live. However, I didn't like it because I had some mohair in my stash. So it's a pattern by Amanda J Designs, and she is the genius behind the Little Bitty Delights stitch markers. And she's just started putting her toe into designing, and it's great. So she designed a sock that is Gilmore Girls themed, and it's called The Whole World Changes Color. And it's about, you know, Lorelai loves snow, just as I do. And she talks about how she loves the stillness and that it makes the whole world change color. And there's a really nice scene where she just talks about what snow means to her. So I, of course, wanted to test knit it. And I was using a red kind of mottled mohair in my stash, and I thought it would be okay, but I just didn't like it. It wasn't giving me the effect I wanted. So I bought something at Vogue Knitting Live for it, and I've already cast it on, so I won't be able to show it to you in its original form. But I'm using this yarn, which is the Yarn at Home Mom, You Made Me a Santa Burger. Again, from her Gilmore Girls Club from, was that last year or the year before? I don't remember. I think it was the year before because this was the Christmas one. And I'm holding that double with my very first skein of Ritual dyes in the Ginger Snap colorway. So it's a very light, almost, I think they dye with natural dyes, Ritual Dyes does. So it looks kind of like an onion dyed skein, that sort of very light pink. And then it has speckles of like a neon green and a chocolate brown. There's a few little speckles of red. So I thought it would be perfect with the You Made Me a Santa burger, because that's exactly the kinds of speckles that this one has. So it has the olivey pickle speckles, the red for the ketchup, and then the brown for the burger. So I'm holding those two together. I had a little bit of trouble with gauge, so it's a 64 stitch sock, and that's normally the number that I knit for my socks. So I cast on with a 2.5 millimeter needle, thinking, yeah, great, I knit 64 stitch socks. Not thinking about the fact that I'm also holding a mohair strand in here. So while that is wispy light, it still is adding some heft to it. So I did the ribbing, and I think to like that far on the leg, and then I was like, it's kind of big. So I went down to a 2.25 millimeter, I think. I don't think I'm knitting on a 2 millimeter. And it seems like it's better. So it is an all over snowflake pattern that looks like falling snow on the leg. And I'm just working the heel flap and gusset, and then I think the snowflake kind of continue down the foot, but they're not all over the foot. It's just like a line of them on the foot. So hopefully I will get through the gusset today and onto the foot. The kids went with Josh to the gym, and then they're going to brunch with Josh and his lifting crew. So it is so quiet in the house, and it's amazing. So I think I may do some sewing instead, because I can knit while the kids are here, but I cannot cut out fabric. So I think I'm going to at least try to cut out fabric for a few things, because I've really been feeling like I want to sew something. So those are The Whole World Changes Color by Little Bitty Delights or Amanda J Designs. And I've linked to her on my Instagram posts for these socks. So if you're interested, you know, you can follow her, and I will let you know when the pattern is released. We need to have our test knits done by, I think she wanted us to have one sock completed by like February 9th, which I'm definitely on track to have that happen. So no worries there. And then another whip I'm working on is the Northeasterly blanket. And I got to meet Melissa, who is Skeins, at Vogue Knitting Live, and we hung out the day before at Brooklyn General. So I hung out with her, Kristen, and Hannah, who's Kawaii Bookworm, and Emily, who's Slow Fashion Rebel. I got to chat a little bit with Carlene. She used to have the Made with Carlenergy podcast, and she's actually thinking about starting it up again. So Carlene, do it. And it was a really great time. That's kind of more my speed, is hanging out like a smaller group of people. I can certainly like be very outgoing and gregarious and meet a lot of people and hug and laugh and do that stuff. But I'm more like a small crew or one-on-one type situation person. I think my personality comes out a little bit more in those situations. So that was really, really fun, and I'm so glad that I got to spend some time with them. So yeah, Melissa, you are welcome anytime in Connecticut, and just let me know. We need to do a Connecticut yarn crawl. So the Northeasterly blanket, she is the the designer behind the Northeasterly blanket, and she also has a add-on that is the Southeasterly, so it gives you textures. And she actually gifted me that pattern, so thank you so, so much, Melissa. What I'm thinking is I'm going to do the first set of stripes just in the traditional blanket, and then maybe I'll do the second set of rainbow with textures. But what I'm doing is I'm doing in rainbow order my stripes on my northeasterly, and then I'm just kind of keeping the same color family within each stripe because I want to really be able to use my stash of yarn scraps. And I'm also trying to bring in the Harry Potter theme because there's the Harry Potter blanket cowl going on with, God, my ear keeps popping, with Shauna from Adelaide Cottage and Jilly, who is vegan Jilly, from the Knitting Broomstick podcast. Man, words, guys, words, they fail me today. So anyway, I started with the blues stripes, so it's obviously the largest, but I found that it was a little bit hard to manipulate the longer it got, so I thought I would start adding a couple of other stripes just for some additional, like, stuff to hold on to. And I feel this way very much with normal knitting as well. It's kind of like when you start a sweater or hat or something like that, and you just have that little bit and you feel like you don't have anything to hold. So it's more fiddly. So once you get it to a certain point, I feel like it's easier to manipulate and easier to just knit on. So I've started the second stripe, which is the greens. And I've got, this one's Harry Potter themed, that one's not, this one is, and this one is. So I'm working right now with the Acid Pops colorway from Shauna, Adelaide Cottage. This was her last Harry Potter minis collection, which was all about sweets in the Harry Potter world. And then I just pre-ordered the next one. I don't know what it's going to be. It's a surprise. And then I just started adding on a new one. I have a lot more of this, but I was really eager to add on a new color. So I was like, that's fine. I'll add some more to a different green stripe and it'll help give it some uniformity. I think this was about half of her mini because her minis are really big. So this one's Slytherin colors. Kind of whites, greens, blacks, and grays. I had the same thing with this one. This one was just like a plain icy blue that I got, and I knit this much and I was like, oh, I'm so sick of it because it wasn't changing. And you know, I can knit a sweater in like a very contiguous, constant color, but when I'm knitting something fun and scrappy, like, I want to get to the juicy bits, as they say. I don't know if I've ever told that story before, but when we were putting together our wedding vows, we were meeting with like I don't know, I'm not Catholic, but I'm sure there's a name for her. The person who does the sermon putting together-ing, and she said, well, what kind of verses do you want to pick? And we did a lot of stuff from Song of Solomon because Song of Solomon is essentially just a love poem within the Bible. And I am not religious at all, but I do love a good love poetry. So we said, yeah, let's do Song of Solomon, but just the juicy bits. And she laughed and laughed and she kept saying, oh my God, the juicy bits. What is wrong with you guys? So anyway, yeah, our vows were just the juicy bits. Just so you know. We asked them to keep them pretty secular and to include the juicy bits. So that is my northeasterly blanket. I have it right now in my Sparkles the Unicorn bag from Knit Picks. This is just my greens and blues minis that I have selected for the stripes I'm working on. I have a crap ton more, but I think I need to upgrade to a bigger bag. So I either need to sew one, maybe I will snaggle one from another project, or put it into a tote bag. I am using a tote bag for a bunch of other minis, but it's a Halloween tote bag, so I feel like it's not really, not doing it for me right now. Is that it? It's kind of all I've been knitting on. See, it's weird. I really, really want to cast on a sweater, and I did start swatching for the Hamilton sweater. But again, I'm not sure if that's the one I want to knit. I don't know what's wrong with me right now. I'm just feeling like I can't decide what I want to do. I came back from New York with so much energy and just like passion for life, which is good. It's really good. So I feel like really creative right now, but I'm having trouble channeling it. And then I've been working, which is sort of a downer. This is clearly going to be way too big. Well, maybe not, because this is twice the stitch count that you're supposed to do for the swatches, but I like to knit a very large swatch so that I can really see what my gauge is going to look like. So this is Madelinetosh Vintage in the Baltic colorway. This is the yarn that I bought for our Wooliversary, our 7-year anniversary. So it's been in my stash for a while. Let's see, that would have been 2014. No, that can't be right. Let me think about this. 2007. Because I bought it at, no, I bought it at a shop in Ohio. Okay, yeah, that would have been fine. So 2014, I bought this yarn, and I special ordered it. I special ordered a sweaters quantity, and it's been sitting in my stash because I didn't know what I wanted to make with it. So I think I'm going to make the Hamilton by Josie Paquin. I'm going to make mine with Negative Ease because I don't want a big boxy sweater. But yeah, I don't know. So that's my swatch. I think this color is going to be really, really pretty. Oh, kind of into those blues right now, I've noticed. So that is that. I'm swatching. So then that kind of gets into gifts and acquisitions. I did knit a tiny bit on Josh's sweater, but it was not much progress. I literally knit for 10 minutes to get across one row. It is giant at this point. I think it'll be fine once I separate for the sleeves, but right now I'm still increasing on the raglan increases. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's already like 300 stitches. It's insane. So it's a navy blue sweater, and it's gotten 2 rows larger. It's not worth showing to you. So we will jump into gifts and acquisitions because, well, first let me show you sewing because that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm between the Wren pattern, which I drafted the pieces for this one a bit ago because I'll have to do a different size on the top than on the bottom. I'm very top heavy, so I usually have to modify for my bust. So I've drafted the pieces larger here, smaller here, and I'm going to make it out of this fabric, which is fabric that I bought from Charlie Girl Fabrics. Tommy Dynamite Trujillo from the Squirrel Pie Productions podcast recommended their site, and I would say it's not the highest quality fabric, but it's great for like practicing, for just making, you know, basics, and for muslins, wearable muslins. So this one's going to be kind of a wearable muslin for the Wren. I think this whole thing was like, I don't know, $7 or $8. So if I screw it up and it doesn't really work, I'm not going to be too tearful about it. But I do like the fabric. It's really pretty. Just a nice black with these red poppies on it. But you know, spring is coming. So you need to have some stuff. And I think this will look amazing with my red open-toed heels. I love a good open-toed platform heel. And the other thing that I want to sew is the Extra Sharp Pencil Skirt by Liesl & Co. So this is their adult pattern line from Oliver & S. It's the same company. And I'm going to make it out of this fabric, which I've had in my stash for a little bit. And I always wanted to do a skirt with it because I have, again, navy blue open-toed platform heels that I think would be really pretty with this, with like a white tee or a red t-shirt. But it's got all kinds of aquatic things, you know, like seahorses, sea stars, shells, shrimp. There's some coral. There's a lot going on there. I think the hardest thing about this is going to be the pattern matching. But a pencil skirt should be pretty straightforward because it'll be kind of straight up and down. I am not going to do the version that has the bias panels so that I don't have seahorses going sideways. I think that'd be weird. So yeah, extra sharp pencil skirt with this fabric and the wren dress with that fabric. I think I might go for the pencil skirt because I haven't worked with just straight up cotton for a while. I've been working with stretch fabrics and like the velvet for Megwin's dress. So it would be nice not to work with a fussy fabric for once. And jersey is a little fussy to cut. So January is my birthday month, and it's also Kristin's birthday month from Volenvine. So we traditionally have exchanged packages with each other, and this year we kind of got behind on doing our Christmas swap and our birthday. So when we were meeting in person, I was like, I'll bring my stuff, you bring your stuff, we'll be good. So we did. So we exchanged our packages, and she dyed up for me a skein of Thaw in Nouveau and a skein of Thaw on Ghost Lace. And this is one of my favorite colors that she has ever done. This was part of her Impressionist MCal kits. I think she dyed them separately a couple times, but I don't know that she ever dyed Thaw and sold it separately. She may have just done the kits for this one. However, I still have my skein of Thaw from that kit because I decided I didn't want to knit that shawl. It's a, what's that called? A crescent-shaped shawl, which I have several in my shawl repertoire, and I don't need anymore. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to knit a Birds of a Feather shawl, which was on my list to make this year, and I think this is going to be a stunning Birds of a Feather shawl. And then I may have to sew a dress to go with it. I really may have to do that because I think that'll be a nice light shawl for spring and summer, since it has the mohair and it's got a really interesting shape to it. So I definitely could see it being worn as a wrap with a dress. So thank you so much, Kristin. There were other things in the package as well. One of them, hopefully, you will see on my wall soon because she got me this adorable print that has gnomes. Gnomes. But I need to find a frame. So I will then hang it up next to my Gustav Klimt pencil drawing, and I think it will look very, very nice in my craft room. So that's that. And then my acquisitions from VKL. I didn't buy very much, to be honest. I really was going more for the friends and for hanging out. I also got to reconnect with one of our oldest friends, Jeremy, who we've been friends since Josh and I started dating. And we used to hang out a lot in the city because we both worked like in the financial district in San Francisco. Well, I worked in the Soma, but he worked in the financial district, but totally walkable. So we tried to meet up for lunch at least like once a month. And we hadn't seen each other in like 7 years. So we had a ton of catching up to do. And we got to hang out. We went and had sushi and sake and just wonderful. Like, Jeremy is as amazing as ever. So it was really fun to just see like a friend from that time in my life. And you know, he's had kids now and he's married, and, you know, obviously Josh and I have kids and we're still together. So just that he's been there through all the stages of our relationship, and, yeah, so it was really fun. And of course, like I said, already getting to hang out with all the people that I did. And I hung out with a lot more people at the show. I got to hang out with Gabby and her brother Adrian. So from Once Upon a Corgi podcast and the Freakish Lemon podcast, and then Selma from Little Big Knits, I think is her podcast name. I always think, is it Big Little Knits or Little Big Knits? And her friend Shella, I think she is Canadian also. Selma's definitely Canadian. Was there anybody else that was in like our immediate group? I think those were the main people like we walked all around the marketplace with. Melissa kind of joined us later for knitting. We also met up with Jacqueline from Brooklyn Knit Folk. We had like a whole crew sitting at this row of tables together, and we were all just knitting and chatting, and that was really fun. Shamika from the Mika Knits. I have a picture of like everybody sitting down the tables, so I will try to insert that either in the intro pictures or kind of at the end. Yeah, we sat there until the hotel people came and like said, we have to take all the tables away. So then they took all the tables away, and my reusable coffee cup was on the table, and I turned around and it was gone. So they took my reusable coffee cup, which is kind of a bummer, but it was just one of those cheapy ones from Starbucks that's like $2 or $3. I'm more sad about the coffee sleeve that said like drink coffee and make things. I need to find another one of those because it was one of my favorites. So I already bought another coffee cup from Starbucks, and they had their Valentine's ones, which is nice, but I haven't got my new sleeve yet. Tangents. Okay, so I got the special scent that Martha made for Shelley Can. She made two. She made amaretto and limoncello. The limoncello was a little bit medicinal for me. It smelled like limoncello, so it's got a very strong lemony smell, but it reminds me of Lemon Pledge, which, if you don't know, is furniture polish. So anyway, I got the amaretto, which, oh my gosh, this is one of Martha's best scents ever. And I love that it's in a tin, so I can keep the tin afterwards and put stitch markers in it and have a little VKO memory. I also got the lip balm in the same scent, and it's also in a tin. So that's nice. And then I used my No Makers bag to walk around the show, which was great. The Flash Your Stash totes. I just emptied one, which I need to put my stash back away in now. So I got a skein of Lavender Loon in the Seance colorway. It is a single ply fingering weight. And it's this really complex burgundy, navy blue, and like purple plum color. The reason that I wanted it is I was remembering that I have this skein of Huckleberry Pie on Nouveau from Kristins Twin Peaks Yarn Club, which was a Twin Peaks themed yarn club. And I love Twin Peaks. That show is amazing. And I thought in my brain they would look really good together. And I did have a good memory for color because they do. So I think I'm going to pair these with my Velvet Grapes from Malabrigo. And I'm going to knit one of the patterns from the Knit with Gradients book that Nina Petrina published. It has like a design from Ellie, Skeins, and just lots of other Norwegian designers, and they're all knit with gradient sets. So there's one in there that's like I think it's the Bergina dress, and it's like a tunic, but it's knit with a gradient. So I think, you know, kind of this going to that, to the Velvet Grapes, that'll be a really pretty tunic dress that I'll then be able to still wear into the spring and the fall if I wear it with tights, because the singles will be a little bit lighter. But I really love this color. And then at Brooklyn General, I bought a few things. So I bought this skein of Jamie Harmon. It's naturally dyed, 60% merino wool, 20% Angora, 20% alpaca. I think it's also hand spun. When I looked on the website, it said hand spun. Yeah, it says hand spun one ply. It's not super washed, so my thought was pair it with tuku wool and make some yummy colorwork mittens. Maybe the last design from the Selbu Mitten Club 2 that's fingering weight, or the pumpkin spice mittens, which I've had that pattern in my stash for a little bit and I want to knit them. So I think that will be really fun, and I love this bright tangerine kind of orange. The other skein I got from Brooklyn General is my first skein of Life in the Long Grass. So it's dyed in Ireland, it's fine sock, so 75-25, and it's in the cushion colorway. It is a beautiful light lemony yellow with just really delicate speckling. This is my favorite kind of yellow. My old craft room was this color of yellow. And it's really hard to find pale yellows that are, you know, just done that well. And there's also some kind of springy green in there. It's just really pretty. You're gonna see a theme. And then I had promised my friend Andrea, because she did my data entry for me, so that I'd be able to go to BKL, because we had kind of some last minute crap at work that had to get done. So I said, well, I will buy you some yarn at BKL. And she is a huge Sailor Moon nut. So Cat Sandwich was putting out Sailor Moon colors. She had 9 of them there, so I got her 2. This is on her glitzy base, because Andrea is all about the sparkle. So this is Sailor Mercury, the blue one, and this is Sailor Mars, the kind of pinky burgundy one. And MJ, the dyer who does Cat Sandwich, was so kind. She was really sick and drinking copious amounts of tea, but she was very helpful. She took pictures of all of them so I could text them to Andrea and ask her which ones she wanted the most. And she just was really nice, despite being, what I could tell, was super sick. As soon as she helped me, though, she went on a break. Let's see. So this was the only other yarn purchase I made at VKL. So in Cat Sandwich, I found another beautiful pale yellow with crazy speckles all over it. So this colorway is Italian Ice. So I got a sweater's quantity of Italian Ice. I don't know what I'm going to make with it yet. I'm thinking something really straightforward though. Maybe a flax light, because I haven't knit that sweater before. And I think it would be nice in this color. So look at that. Oh my god, it's so amazing. Or something with this being the body and then like the color work yoke. Yeah, I don't know yet because all those rainbow speckles, I feel like I don't want to detract from that with color work. So I think I'm going to stick with like something really basic. Either like doing a so faded but not fading it, a fadeless fade, or like a flax light, or maybe an unfinished business. I don't know. But yeah, something that's going to really let this yarn stand out. Because it's amazing and gorgeous, and I love it so much. Kristen took a picture of me when I found it, and I just was like, she said, "You look so happy. You have to buy that." And it does make me so happy. It makes me so happy. The last thing I purchased at VKO was 2 of these little needle holders from Kristins. So Kristins started carrying like darning needle or tapestry needle, that's the word I want, tapestry needle holders. And they debuted them at VKL, but they said that their supplier was having trouble, you know, meeting all their demand. So they didn't know if they would have any more for a bit after VKO. So I went ahead and bought 2 of them. So they were made of wood, and you know, they screw on. There's a little hedgehog and a sheep. And it's a really nice piece. Like, the wood is beautiful. It's very well made. And I always have problems with my tapestry needles kind of flopping around in my bag, and I have to dig a lot to find them. So it's really nice to have them just in a tube like this. And unlike the chibi needles, I like that it's in wood, not plastic. So that's awesome. And then some freebies. Shelley Can gave away some stickers for VKL. Good grief. So she had like pizza and little shakers themed stuff in her booth. Pins and stuff. I'm not as into enamel pins as a lot of people, so you know, I chose to spend my money on kind of yarn and accessories and stuff like that, but the pins were super cute. And then the knitting place also gave me a sticker when we stopped by. I think Kristen got a couple of skeins of a spin cycle because she's going to knit a shifty sweater. So the shop owner was very sweet and gave us stickers. So that's it. Yeah, that's it for VKL acquisitions. I feel like I stayed within budget and was very restrained and controlled, and I got everything I got. I love. I'm happy that I bought some stuff from Brooklyn General, and I'm definitely going to order some more stuff from them because I think if I like that single ply yarn, I'd like to have kind of a matching colorwork hat to go with it, so I might order some more off their website. They also had some lichen and lace that I wasn't ready to purchase at that point, but I think it would make a really pretty colorwork sweater. It was like it was a non-superwash. Hannah got some for her pinguono, and I think it would really soften up beautifully. And yeah, so I think I might, you know, buy some of that later. But I have so much stuff right now. I feel like I need to just knit some sweaters. Get some sweater quantities out of my stash and like rotate it a little bit. So I'm trying to look at some of my older sweater quantities and match those up with patterns and see what I can get knit up so that I make room for new sweater quantities of things. Let's see what else. Random stuff I got. I was getting Megwin's Valentines, and I got this super cute little plant thing It comes with stuff to grow like grass. So I'll probably grow the grass with Megwin, but then I might put like a little succulent or something in it. It's so cute. It's a llama and it's pink for Valentine's Day. So I think I'm gonna, grow that. And then I got this super cute Hello Kitty macaroon. So it has lip balm in it, and when it's done, I'll use it for stitch markers in one of my notions pouches. My coffee is getting cold. Okay, so now we've come to the huge, gigantic thing. I don't think I'm going to be able to share it all on this podcast because there's too much. And there's other stuff that I wanted to chat about. So let me talk about the winners first for the cow. And then I'll go through the super amazing gift that I received. So I drew for the Q4 Stash or Shelf Challenge prize. That winner was number 230, Wheel's Wife. I also drew from the chatter thread for the whole year, and that winner was number 239, Loony. And then for the grand prize for all year of Stash or Shelf Challenging, I went through all of the posts and I drew 2 winners. The first one was number 170, I Know Who You Are. Like, I know who you are. And number 261, who was Coddington. Yay! So if all of you can contact me via PM, I will divvy out the associated prizes. I've got 2 pattern prizes to give away, a bag, which actually Coddington donated, so obviously she's not going to get that one. And then I have a skein of yarn from my stash. So, yeah, just contact me and we will arrange for all of the prizes to fly around as needed. And thank you everybody for participating. Stash or Shelf Challenge is going for 2019 as well. So knit from stash, knit from your shelf, or crochet or weave. And I will kind of do the same thing. And then the other thing I want to talk about was the hibernating cow. So little did I know when I conceived of said idea in December that Stephen West was producing a book that he was going to publish and reveal at BKL that was called Hibernating. So he now is running a hibernating cow. He's using hashtag hibernating cow. So it's going to be too hard for me to parse out from Stephen West's cow what is my cow. So I'm just not going to do it. We'll just have the Stash or Shelf Challenge cow. I will probably come up with one in the springtime, but we'll just have this for Q1. So sorry for the hibernating cow, but I'm not going to compete with Stephen West. There's no way that I can. So yeah, that's that. So sorry if you're disappointed. You can still knit cozy stuff and it can just be from Stash or Shelf and it will count. Okay, so I did not get permission from this person who sent me this amazing, wonderful gift to reveal who they are. But you know who you are, and thank you. Thank you so, so much. I just couldn't. I couldn't process. Like, this was just so amazing and so generous, and wow. So this person sent me we were chatting after my last episode, and she said, oh, I think I have some No Makers in stash, because I said, hey, if anybody has minis of the No Makers colors that are Parks and Rec, I'd love to get some of them. And so she messaged me and said, hey, I think I have some of the No Makers in stash. Would you like some of it? And I said, yeah, sure. That would be great. Thank you so much. And she's like, oh, I'd like to send you some other stuff too. And started showing me things. And said, I'm going to put together a package for you. I had no idea that it was going to be so much. So this is Spin Cycle. This is a Spin Cycle rainbow pack that she sent me. So I think I'm going to make the throwback cardigan. And this is what I think I will cast on next. Because I haven't knit a cardigan in a while. And I feel like I need that in my wardrobe. Because I only have one hand knit cardigan. And I don't really like it. It doesn't fit me very well. I knit it kind of after... It was after I had Megwin, before I had Joshua, so I really wasn't back to kind of my pre-pregnancy body, which now I am actually. So I lost the last little bit of weight, and now I'm basically back to the size that I was before I had children, which I'm super proud of. But I think I'm going to use this yarn that my mom bought for me for my birthday in 2012. It is Frog Tree Merino, and it's worsted weight, so it's just a nice deep chocolatey brown with these. I haven't decided yet what colors I'm going to use, but I think I'm probably going to go with these guys, the yellows and the, you know, pinks with the brown for the throwback cardigan. And that'll be a really nice versatile piece that can go with a lot of stuff in my wardrobe with the chocolatey brown. But I'm also like, I don't know. I kind of want to bring that blue into there as well. So I'll have to look at what the yarn requirements are, because maybe I could do that of having the red, yellow, and blue with the chocolate brown. But the chocolate brown is going to be the body of the sweater with these Spin Cycle yarns, because these need to be knit up. Seriously. This is so much Spin Cycle. I feel so spoiled, it's disgusting. So I think the best way to show my gratitude is by using it. And I will get to use stash, like deep stash, 7-year-old stash. Whew. So that was one piece of it, but that is not all. Oh no. This is what came in the mail. A ginormous bag of mini skeins, and really what were partial skeins of stuff. So Halo Alpaca, which Kristen stopped dyeing yarn on, and I never scored any of it, but it's gorgeous. It feels a lot like the alpaca base that Amanda had, No Makers, that I have a couple of skeins of and really love. This is Enjoy the Silence, and I have 2 skeins of this from Jilly, so now with this sparkle as well, I think I have enough to knit a sweater. So I'm pondering that one. I think with like a hot pink something on the yoke. Ooh, it'd be a pretty Ingles with like hot pink flowers. That might have to happen. This looks like Fig Bash, but it's a lot. I mean, these leftovers are a lot of leftovers. Just a ton. This entire tote bag is full of minis or partially finished skeins like that. Sparkle, not sparkle. Yeah, this is what I thought I was going to be getting. I think this is Beach Bum. Why do I know all of your colors, Kristen? This is insane. Why can I recognize them by sight? Because I already had too much fun. Can you ever have too much? Okay. So there was that. Then a bar of lemongrass bath soap, which is cool because we needed more hand soap. I use mostly Martha's, and I haven't caught a shop update to buy more. Then the Wollonvine. So this is vintage Wollonvine. I have some with the hangy tags. I love it. So this is Sweet Dreams, and this is a colorway of hers I never was able to grab, and it's on Sparkle. So 2 skeins of that. Two skeins of Narwhal Deck the Halls, and the only holiday colorway that I ever got from Kristin was well, I got Special Snowflake, which I knit into my shawl, and then I got a skein of Holly Jolly or Deck the Halls. It was one of the two, and I gifted it to Anna from the Anna Knitter podcast, who is taking a break from social media, but it looks like she is back now, so no fear. I was so scared. She was gone from Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, and yeah, she was just taking a break, so her podcast is back up now and all good to go. Feels like a lot of people are taking breaks from social media, which is good and healthy, and it's good for all of us to realize that maybe we need to step back a little bit every once in a while. But this yarn is beautiful, and I'm so excited that I have some holiday colors, because she doesn't dye this one anymore. Oh my god, I just feel so spoiled. Okay, then I got 3 skeins of blitzed succulents, and I have 2 skeins of succulents on Footsie. This is enough for a sweater. And then a skein of harpsichord on Volca. I have a skein of harpsichord on Volca in my stash. So again, now I have enough to do something with. Although I was going to make it be a stripy sweater, so I would now have enough to do something else amazing, because it's one of the best yellows ever, and it could not be dyed anymore because I believe Kristin said that Dharma dye company does not make this yellowy gold dye anymore, so they changed their formulation, and she was not able to produce this color any longer, which is sad. I have not put this into my general population because I always keep my yarns from external sources separate for a little bit, just for safety. This is Volca Moondrop, which I also have a skein of in my stash. It's a beautiful lavender purple with pinks. Neptunia, also on Narwhal. The Narwhal base is one of my favorites too. Again, she doesn't carry it anymore. So it's a 70% superwash BFL, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. It is very luxurious. So Neptunia I had never seen in person before. It's really pretty. And another one I did not have. One of the colors I always wanted. Come on Barbie, let's go party. I have a video of Joshua singing with this song when he was like a year and a half old. Barbie girl. I love that video. It's so ridiculous and over the top. It's awesome. So again, vintage Wollonvine. Another skein of, oh, this is Beach Bum. Okay, never mind. I thought this was, what was the Halloween one? The Land Pirates one. Shoot. Mooncusser. Mooncusser. I thought it was Mooncusser, but it's not. So this is Beach Bum on Volca. This is Mooncusser. Those would actually look really great together in a fade. And I have a Sparkle Mooncusser. That needs to be a fade. Why do I keep knitting so faded sweaters? Because they're amazing. They fit me well, and I love them. Yeah. So this is Mooncusser on Volca. And I got Mooncusser on Blitzed. So those will work very well together. For the Valentines, Vintage Full and Vine, these are 2 skeins of Fangbanger. One on Strassa, which she doesn't carry anymore. It was a really nice base though. And one on Blitzed. Valentine-y. Oh my god, there's just so much, guys. It's so overwhelmingly much. A skein of Crazy Purple Bouquet. This is a one-of-a-kind on Blitzed. It's really pretty. A skein of That's My Jam on Pebble, one-of-a-kind. I didn't even know you carried a tweed base, Kristen. Ever. I don't remember the tweed base. Tweed. I love tweeds. This one needs to be like a hat or something. A skein of Lady of the Lake on Volca. I used this one, this color for my Oracle shawl. It's a really nice, beautiful color. Kind of a sea greeny blue with speckles. And it goes from very pale minty to like a turquoise. Ode to a Pear on Narwhal. I think this later became Prickly Pear, I feel like. But this was her first iteration of it, because I remember wanting to get this skein and I didn't. So it's kind of a scummy green, but in the most wonderful way. Monster Mash, which was one of a kind Halloween colorway on Volca. God, I remember seeing all of these in the shop. It's so insane. So apparently, this person was the one getting them. What? So cool. An Oracle kit. Yeah. This is the Squirrel Pie Oracle kit. So this is what Tommy knit her Oracle out of. So it's a skein of Prickly Pear, a skein of Fig Bash, and a skein of Glass Unicorn. Kristen, I have Glass Unicorn now. She was going to dye me one as my skein for test knitting for her. And just hasn't had a chance to do it yet. So if I had a second one, I could knit a sweater. I could knit a Tommy sweater. What? A Squirrel Pie sweater with like the Last Unicorn and then contrasts of Fig Bash and Prickly Pear. What do you guys think? That sounds super cool, amazing. A baseball. Right? I just couldn't talk. I was blown away. A Misfit skein of Jilted Rose. This one's a lot more pinky than My Jilted Rose was more towards the mauvey side of the spectrum, but it's still a gorgeous color. I love a good dusty rose. And that would go with any number of these colors that are sitting over here. And then 3 skeins of Octopus Garden in Sparkle. And 3 skeins of Octopus Garden in Volca. Shut up. What? That's like 2 sweaters quantities of Octopus Garden. And I love this color so freaking much. I have a pair of socks out of this when she brought back Footsie years and years ago. And mine was on an old hangy tag too. So to have a whole sweater out of it, oh my God, it would be amazing. Yeah. So beautiful. So beautiful. And she doesn't really dye this color anymore either. That is not all. That's the Woolen Vine layer though. We got through the Woolen Vine layer. So then I got a skein of Desert Vista Dye Works, which I do not have any of this in my stash, or did not until now, in Zombody Doodle Dandy. It is on her sparkle base. So it's a self-striping skein of yarn. God, my toes are cold. It's so cold in here. And then she included some No Makers colors. So skein of Polyjuice Potion on Fancy Gnome. So this is her 80-10-10 Merino Cashmere Nylon. I didn't even remember that Amanda dyed Polyjuice Potion. So that'll work for my Harry Potter blanket. A skein of Waffles. This is what I thought originally I was getting. On Bungalow Gnome. So that's a Parks and Rec themed. A skein of Lovey Dovey on Sparkle. And I have a skein of Lovey Dovey on, I think it's Fancy Gnome. It's the cashmere. A skein of Mrs. Frankie on House Gnome. A skein of Do You Love Me on Sparkle Gnome. That's a color, Valentine's color I did not have of Amanda's. So it's balled up, but it's a whole skein. This is starting to hurt my arms having them up here like this. Another skein of Hedgehog Fibers Fool's Gold. So I have 1 skein of this. So now I have 2. A skein of A Homespun House in If You're a Bird, I'm a Bird, which again was a color of Molly's that I really, really wanted to try. And just could never catch the update for it. Let's see if I can. It's really hard to do with a plastic tub on your lap. It's fairly pretty. It's like a super, super pale, like shell pink with blues and golds and like olive greens on it. And a skein of Jinx Yarns Glitz Sock in Unsafe for Swimming. Which I think is like, excuse me, Jaws reference. That one's really cool. So that's all the hand-dyed yarn. And then she also included some skeins of Knit Picks Felici in Dark Side. I don't have this one, so that'll be fun for socks. Lots of skeins of like Fortissima Color, which again I haven't knit with, but this is going to make really nice durable socks, probably for Josh, because these are actually really good colors for him. It's kind of greens and blues and yellows. And then 2 skeins of Drops Fauble print, maybe for Mequin. She likes reds. A Misty Alpaca. I love that she put washi tape on the label. It's a really good idea. So it stays on. Yep. I think my mom's knit socks in Misty Alpaca. I never have before. And a skein of Opal. And this Opal is so much nicer. I got a skein of Opal Sparkle before and it was really scratchy, but this one's really soft. So this is Opal Happy from the Sweet and Spicy line. And then another Fortissima color that's kind of brighter colors. So that one's probably a me skein. So that's the whole box. It was so much, and it was so incredibly, incredibly generous. Yeah. I can't even, but thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're very kind, and I appreciate you sharing your stash with me and passing on things that you felt like would bring me joy. They absolutely do. I promise to make them into wonderful, beautiful things and to share them with all of you as I knit them. So yeah, I'm gonna get choked up if I talk about it much more, because seriously, this package makes me tear up a little bit. And it came at a really good time as far as work and things like that. Yeah, it was good. Good timing. Okay. We've got that all back in its place. More or less. So, just a little bit of real talk. And I have not written anything down. This is probably not going to be very articulate, but I wanted to talk about it. For those who don't know, who don't follow on Instagram, there has been a pretty deep and difficult conversation happening right now about race. Spurred on by some things that were said by makers. I don't really know everything that happened because I think one of the posts was deleted, and then the other one is a YouTube video that, frankly, given some of the things I've heard, I don't particularly want to go watch or feel the need to go watch. But I did want to say here that I'm listening, I hear people, I support people from diverse backgrounds, people who are transgender, gay, bisexual, lesbian. I support people who are African American. The acronym that was used, I didn't even know what it was before, so thank you for educating me on a new acronym to use. BIPOC, so I believe it stands for Black, Indigenous, People of Color. Yeah, I haven't said much on Instagram, and the reason for that is that I think it's a really difficult platform to articulate thoughts. I'm not very good at using Instagram. Even Instagram stories, like, I don't use them very much because I have trouble, like, even getting text to fit on pictures properly, and I think the little bit of words that you can put at the bottom of a post is just not enough. It's not enough for this kind of a topic. It's a deep topic. It's a hard topic. racism is, for better or for worse, entangled in the American story, and it's an ugly. And I imagine for people that are international, like, it's got to be puzzling because you have your own stories, your own culture, your own country's histories to grapple and deal with. To expect you all to know everything that happened in US history is asking a lot, frankly. But I will say that I hope and I feel like I have every day of my life tried to do the hard work of combating racism and sexism and homophobia, every kind of ism that you could think of. Sometimes to the detriment of friendships and family relationships. And I think the hard work is really just not tolerating it and calling it out when you see it. And when people say things that sometimes they don't even realize could be offensive or are not thoughtful, just saying, hey, what? Like, what do you mean? And those conversations are hard. And I hope that I have always done a good job of having those conversations, regardless of whether they're tough or not. And also having lived in Mexico previously, I find the stuff that has happened in our country more recently, frankly, heartbreaking. Anyway, had to pause there. So I just hope that people know that this is a safe place, and that I'm on your side. And I agree that the things that we're going through right now as a country are difficult but necessary. I think we have taken baby steps along the way, but frankly, like, just the realization that I remember having it as a child that, wow, like, segregation was still a thing, like, when my parents were alive. That my generation was kind of the first one that didn't grow up with that being part of our reality. And that's a lot to take in. So yeah, I hope that we keep having a good and progressive conversation, that we don't hide things, that we don't sweep things under the carpet, and that we have the hard conversations that we need to have so we can move forward, because you can't progress and move forward if you don't talk about things. So that's what I have to say. Hopefully that makes sense. Probably doesn't, because I didn't plan it. I didn't write things out. So sometimes I can be more articulate, sometimes not. But yeah, I think of myself as being an honorary Mazatleca. And I hope we can do better. So now I'm running out of camera time. I've babbled for long enough. I want to thank you all for joining me, for sticking with me, for your wonderful hearts and generosity, and for sharing your wonderful creative selves with me in my group, and leaving comments, and yeah. So until next time, have an amazing week or 2 weeks or however long, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.